G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. Wayne from Land and Bay Fishing. We're going to talk about, this is going to be a maps and spots video about the mouth of the Pine River and Bald Hills Creek. Let's get into that. Mouth of Pine, one of my favourite places to chase bream, one of my favourite places to catch flathead. From the mouth of the Pine, you come in under the bridge, and the very first significant creek on your left is Bald Hills Creek. That creek has a little bit of structure, lots of mangroves, quite shallow in places, and some big deep holes in places. By big deep I mean 3.5 metres, so not overly deep, big enough to hold good fish. Very good place to chase bream, very good place to crab, very good place to chase flatty. Let's begin with where it is. The bridge runs from Brighton through to Clontarf. It's about 2.5 kilometres long and hundreds of pylons. Holds all sorts of fish. A session at the pylons is very rarely not rewarding. You'll struggle not to catch fish at the pylons. They may not be huge, but they're plentiful. I like the slack water, so our either side of high tide, our either side of low tide. During the mid-tide, the water rushes through here because it's such a narrow channel. And with that rush, you really have to be patient and be accurate with your placement when you're throwing soft plastics, or you're going to find way more snags than fish. Just how we're fishing these pylons, we'll spot lock just off the bridge, just so out of there, the other side of the bridge, so that we don't lose GPS. Once we're spot locked in between two bridges, we work the pylons. We try and get the lures as close as we can to the backwash behind the pylons, because the fish, like us, a bit lazy, and they'll sit in the slack water if they can. Do go through some leaders fishing like this, so make sure if you do have a go, check your leader every now and then. You might have to change it or at least cut it a bit shorter. Just be aware, running between the two bridges from Clontarf to Brighton at low tide can be fraught with danger. Very, very shallow in places. After fishing the pylons, whether I've caught fish or not, I'll quite often move along the flats, and you'll see there at low tide the flats are very exposed. At high tide the water's over top of those flats by about 3/4 of a metre to a metre and a bit, and the flathead love these flats. Full of worms, full of yabbies, full of food, soldier crabs. If you're land-based here and it's high tide, you can fish the Brighton side on that rock wall. The rock wall lends itself at high tide, especially first thing in the morning, to topwater fishing for bream and flathead. You also pick up the occasional whiting, but bream and flathead, very good spot, topwater in the mornings. So moving from the bridge up toward Bald Hills Creek, you've got a line of sandbank. That sandbank at low tide, you can walk right out there to the channel. You'll find everything in the channel. I only ever chase the bread and butter species there. You will pick up bycatch like school dew in the middle of winter, the occasional tarpon, tailor. This is also a cracking spot for whiting through the summer with live worms. You really need to get yourself some live worms though. Without the live worms, you're going to be struggling. The unfortunate part about chasing whiting in the summer with your live worms is there's generally a lot of small rat bream. Flathead fishing along here can be very rewarding. You'll get trophy fish through here in the winter time. So from about mid-June, July onwards, right through to the end of August, beginning of September, absolutely fantastic spot for big flathead. Brings us up to the mouth of Bald Hills Creek. Bald Hills Creek runs north-south, so parallel with the Deagon deviation. The mouth of Bald Hills Creek, very shallow, and it is better to have a good look at it at a low tide period, just so you can see where the channel is, so that you're not struggling when there's a bit of water over it and it's difficult to see. If you have patience, just parking your boat on the drop-off at the mouth of Bald Hills Creek and fishing pillies for a few hours will definitely pay dividends. Well, that's it folks, thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, I'll see you in the next video. Oh, it's a good bream, this one. There's a net. Only got 4-pound leader. Beautiful.